What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We're going to be going over the Players Cup 3 Global Finals results today. I'm going to be talking about the winning team, some other standout teams, how the legendaries stacked up in this tournament, the usage statistics, what did good, what did bad, and it's going to be a good, analysis and highlight of our biggest VGC tournament yet and our biggest Series 8 tournament. So guys, let's get into it. So real quick, guys, I just want to say sorry for the lack of YouTube uploads and streams this kind of last week and this weekend, because I, as a, lover of VGC and of the competitive circuit, I want to support it as best I can, and I did not want to stream over the Players Cup 3 official broadcast. I think my best way of supporting it, if I'm not a commentator or an affiliate or anything, is to make everybody watch it instead of my stream. So I just wanted to support that, but guys, uploads coming in hot. Series 9 is coming up soon, and it's going to be a whole new format for a lot of players that just jumped in, and it's going to be a lot of new content for me to upload. So just wanted to let you guys know about that. So guys, let's start going over kind of my predictions that I had in my previous video. I'll link it up for you guys here, of what I thought I was going to see in the Players Cup 3 Global Finals. And so my first prediction, because in the global, in NA, the top 16 teams, there wasn't a single Landorus T. And so what I said was, guys, that was kind of a fluke. That was a little bit weird. Landorus T is definitely going to show up to the global finals, and he's going to do pretty well because, Landorus is an amazing Pokemon. He's great into Coalossal, ground immunity, intimidate, and just that big ground stab to knock out opposing Coalossals is amazing. So I knew Landorus was going to be there, and we'll get into the usage statistics, but there were 4 Landorus out of the 16 teams, and they all performed well. So your boy was right on that one prediction, but then I also made the prediction of Coalossal won't be solved yet. And so kind of what I meant by that was I don't think people are going to have some super crazy hard answer that just auto wins against Cole. And then I don't think that the Coalossal teams are just going to disappear. I think that there's going to be some Coalossals, and I think that they're going to do well as they normally do. There were actually, I believe, 3 Coalossals that came to the the global finals top 16 teams, which is a pretty good number, but they didn't honestly do too well. So I think that people did kind of come up with some good answers for Cole, but Cole still did show up and do a little bit of work. So I put a neutral face for that. I don't think I was exactly super right or super wrong about that. And then the final one was, there was only 3 Kyogres in the NA top 16, and I thought that was kind of low. So I said, I think there's going to be more Kyogre teams showing up to the global finals, and I think that they're going to be even better Kyogre teams, evolving past just the, Torn, Ogre, Regieleki, Amoonguss, Kartana thing that was running around really early Series 8. And, spoiler alert, guys, Kyogre won the entire tournament, doing amazing, but it was the only Kyogre that came in top 16 in the global finals at all. The only Kyogre that showed up won the whole tournament. So I would say that there were more Kyogre teams. I was definitely wrong about that, but the Kyogre teams were better, and they came in guns blazing pretty much. So there you go. I am going to put a neutral face for that because I was right and wrong half-half on those predictions. Guys, let's get into the usage statistics for the global finals. Now, first off, I want to say big shout outs to NimbasaCityPost.com. This is where I'm looking at the usage stats and the teams. They are on this website. I will include it in the description. I always like to use their website. It looks pretty and it gives me the information I want. And guys, they will eventually upload the rental codes onto these teams. Right now, tournament just happened yesterday. Not all of the players have given out their rental codes, but if you come and check this link in the description within a few days from this being uploaded, I would say that some of the rental codes released from the players will be on here for your guys' using and viewing pleasure. To nobody's surprise, guys, the #1 most used restricted legendary in the global finals was Zacian, the Sword Doggo Bebe. Why is Zacian so good? Because it's so unbelievably flexible. It can be used on Sun modes, Coalossal teams, Regigigas Weezing. It was even used on a Rain team with Politoed and Kingdra. The thing is just Zacian is great into every archetype of the game, And it frees up your team building so much when you've got Zacian, the super consistent restricted, and then the rest of the team, you can just go whatever mode you want. When you're using Groudon, you know, you've got to have this sun heavy mode. When you're using Kyogre, you've got to have this kind of, you know, Kyogre-centric strategy, all that kind of stuff. Calyrex, Shadow is going to be a hyper-offensive team. Zacian is very flexible and works on a ton of teams and is just insanely good. So I'm actually going to be making a specific video on Zacian in the future on this channel, so sub bebe. But yeah, I don't want to talk too much about Zacian, but it should not be a surprise at all that it's the #1 most used restricted legendary. But next up was Groudon. Now, guys, another thing to keep in mind is there's only 16 players in the global finals, only 16 teams. So when you look at Zacian was on 5 of the 16 teams, that's a huge number. And then you look at Groudon was on 4, 25% of the teams. That's also a really big fraction of the teams that were using Groudon. So Groudon was the second most used restricted legendary, paired with Venusaur and all that great sun stuff like Charizard. You can see Charizard at 31% of teams. Pretty insane. So Groudon, no big surprises, guys. Sun is extremely dominant. Venusaur and Charizard are 2 of the best Pokemon in the entire game right now, and Groudon enables them. While Groudon isn't the best Pokemon by itself, having to rely on Precipice Blades, still getting hit by water moves really hard, even in the sun, it enables some of the best Pokemon in the game, Charizard and Venusaur. So no big surprises there. But then the next restricted legendary with the highest usage was Calyrex Shadow. Calyrex Shadow is the premier hyper offense restricted legendary. It goes for the Grimday boost, doesn't let them eat the berries, and just destroys enemy teams with the expanding forest, Astral Barrage, Dynamaxing, Max Quakes, all this kind of stuff. It is meant to just blow through opposing teams, and it's honestly insanely scary. It's not that easy to answer. It just does so much damage, and the teams that support it, things like Whimsicott, Regieleki, Urshifu, the damage just comes out so strong, and Calyrex is amazing because it doesn't really need the Dynamax, and it lets the team, it just pins teams with huge damage. So honestly, that was a pretty big number. 3 of the teams used Calyrex, and they all did quite well in the tournament. Yeah, not a big surprise for Calyrex Shadow, but then that's where it ends. The rest of the legendaries were only singles, just like the trickle-in legendaries, if you will. There was 1 Calyrex Ice, 1 Solgaleo, 1 Yveltal, and the big surprise was only 1 Kyogre. I'm going to keep it 100% honest, guys. I am a lover of Kyogre. You guys have seen my team that I used with Kyogre and did extremely well. I think Kyogre was slept on and admittedly disrespected in this tournament. Only 1. And it ended up winning the whole tournament, meaning it was an amazing call, and Kyogre just bodied so many teams. I am honestly shocked that there was only 1 Kyogre. It is such an amazing Pokemon. It doesn't need to Dynamax at all. It can, and it's a great Dynamax, but it doesn't need to. You get it into the right position, you get your chess pieces, you know, in the right position for that checkmate, and that's how Kyogre works. You get the Tailwind up, you get it in safe, you get it next to Follow Me, you get the Trick Room up, all this kind of stuff. Come in the late game, Water Spout just completely washes away enemy teams, and I was very surprised to only see 1, but it did amazingly well. Now, I think, you know, 1 Solgaleo, 1 Calyrex Ice, and 1 Yveltal, you know, we're going to expect to see those little trickle-in legendaries, you know, a few people trying to break the mold with their teams. None of them did amazingly well, unfortunately, but that's to be expected, is to see some more niche legendaries. So I think that those are all really strong legendaries that we saw, you know, trickle in a little bit. And then just going over a few more of the usage statistics, Venusaur was on over 1/3 of teams. I think it's pretty obvious that when you are a Pokemon that moves insanely fast in the sun, you've got Sleep Powder, you've got G-Max Vine Lash, one of the most oppressive mechanics the game has ever seen. Max Quake, Weather Ball, all this kind of stuff. It's no surprise. Venusaur is one of, if not the best Pokemon in Series 8, and it's no surprise. And then right under that, Charizard at 31%. Charizard is phenomenal. It directly counters Venusaur, one of the best Pokemon in the game. It's got Wildfire. Phenomenal. I don't think that's a big surprise at all. Incineroar at #1. We don't even have to talk about it, guys. Incineroar, best Pokemon in the game for a big reason. And then another thing that was cool was Umbreon. Look at Umbreon all the way up there on 25% of teams. Now, you may be thinking, well, Groudon is used that much, so I mean, that's why Umbreon was used that much. Umbreon is not just on Sun teams. It works great with Groudon because of the Moonlight synergy, but I think it's kind of just those supportive, defensive, dark types that I've talked about a lot in previous videos are amazing. Look at that. Incineroar, Grimmsnarl, and Umbreon, all super high usage. So fan favorite Umbreon showing up that much makes sense because it's honestly so good in these Uber formats. So big shout outs to Umbreon. I'm happy to see Umbreon up there. Only 3 Coalossals and only 3 Dragapults. They were used in tandem. And honestly, guys, the Coalossals didn't do that amazingly well in this tournament, surprisingly, when Coalossal's kind of the meme of like, it's gonna win, we gotta stop it. So guys, let's get into a little bit of a bigger deep dive into the teams that did well. Here we are looking at the official results, ladies and gentlemen, and North America's own Jonathan Evans takes the win. Honestly, pretty cool and poetic. If you guys didn't know, Jonathan Evans was the player that lost to Wolf Glick in the 2016 World Finals. Wolf won Players Cup 2. And here we go, Jonathan Evans winning Players Cup 3, clapping back, showing what a strong player he is. So congrats to him, and let's go North America winning all 3 of the Players Cups. You guys know I'm from North America. I got that pride. Let's go, baby. We the best. Moving on. There it is. The only Kyogre team in the entire tournament, number 1. And then you can see he was also the only Torkoal user in the entire tournament. And there he goes, Venusaur. I want to talk about the core of Kyogre, Torkoal, Venusaur. So it sounds weird, like, well, Kyogre and Torkoal don't mesh well at all, period, pretty much, right? Well, the thing is that Venusaur is the centerpiece of this team. Let's say you have Torkoal and Venusaur in, okay? Torkoal switching out into Kyogre is like beneficial for Venusaur against any fire type in the game. It lowers the fire damage you're gonna take from opposing Torkoal. Incineroar's is Flare Blitz. Even a Charizard's Wildfire in certain situations. Venusaur in the rain is honestly really strong. Venusaur in the sun is extremely fast, but does get outsped by certain things. But Venusaur in the sun with Tornadus Tailwind on top of that, insanely fast, okay? Once again, Venusaur is the centerpiece. We've got the Torn Ogre tried and true combination of boost up the speed and water spout your opponents away. But the thing is most people are used to, you know, the Torn Ogre lead when they come in the front. And I think that most players have developed an answer to that, and it's kind of fallen out of favor. But he would lead things like Incineroar Venusaur, Tornadus Venusaur, or even just Torkoal Venusaur. Grimmsnarl Venusaur, obviously amazing as well. But he would have the Venusaur in the front to set up Vine Lash, do all this damage, Sleep Powders, this, that, you name it. But then in the back, teams could not really prepare for Kyogre plus Tailwind in the back, where they had to lead their answers. The answers get chipped. Kyogre comes in later into the game and just literally washes the opponents away. I think that this team was a beautiful demonstration of what I was talking about when I wanted to see better Kyogre teams. This Kyogre team was, you know, it had the Torn Ogre, but it was a totally different game plan. It centered around Venusaur, one of the best Pokemon in the entire game, and I think it's no surprise to see just how well this team did. Kyogre's amazing, Venusaur's amazing, and with a 4-mon support cast, it worked really well. And not to mention, this was a Life Orb Tornadus with Hurricane and Heat Wave. In the sun, Torn is hurting extremely hard with Heat Wave into the opponents, and then in the rain, it can't miss Hurricane. It can even max Airstream in certain situations. This team was really, really cool. Torn was an amazing addition. So many of the Pokemon worked great in sun and rain. Just a really, really cool team by Jonathan. Congrats to him. So coming up on the podium, ladies and gentlemen, was Leonardo and Yoav, using both pretty standard Sun teams that we've seen. The Umbreon Regieleki version of the Sun was very popular. And look, that was a team that I'm sure everybody came into this tournament, you know, prepared for, had a game plan for, etc. And look, Leonardo took it all the way to second. It doesn't matter if it's a common team. It's just such an insanely strong team. Life Orb Charizard doing insane damage. Magnet Regieleki with things like Electroweb to abuse things like Tornadus and Kyogre. And all those Pokemon that are pretty slow. Charizard even. And then Umbreon in the sun, amazing. And then the, of course, core of Groudon, Incineroar, Venusaur, and Charizard. Very obvious stuff. But then Yoav was using the more popularized version by some great friends of mine, Colin, Raghav, and Chemo. Their version with the Porygon 2 and the Grimmsnarl. The more slow, kind of methodical and bulky version of the team, I would say. And Yoav took that all the way to 3rd place. So these standard Sun teams still beat out the competition. Everybody was prepared for Sun, but they still did extremely well. So big shout outs to them and showing why Sun is still such a dominant strategy in Series 8. Another thing I'd like to mention, guys, is the entire podium is filled up by Venusaur, baby. Venusaur got 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place in the Players' Cup. Now, you could say the same about Incineroar, but I mean, that one's like a little less cool, okay? Incineroar is just a Pokemon that goes on every team. Venusaur doesn't exactly go on every team. You kind of have to build your team around Venusaur, as Incineroar is built around other Pokemon. So, just another thing to say why Venusaur is so insanely good. 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place. Pretty crazy. So I scrolled down the list here a little bit, guys, and there were 3 Coalossal teams in this tournament. And I'm going to say, honestly, guys, Coalossal didn't really do too well here. You can see that Coalossal got 13th, which is effectively going 0-2 in the global finals. And then there was one in 9th place and one in 7th place. So, guys, I got to say, Coalossal didn't have a great showing. I think everyone was prepared. I think the Groudons and Venusaurs and even the Landorus's were doing great against the Coles. And then, of course, I think Kyogre has a phenomenal matchup against Cole. I'm not 100% sure if Jonathan went against any Coalossals directly, but I'm sure he had a very positive matchup in that. I love playing against Coalossal with my Kyogre team, for example. But I think that this is a great little dichotomy going on, is Coalossal didn't do too well. There were only 4 Landorus's in the tournament, but here I go. I scroll up. They all did great. They got 5th place, 5th place, 7th, and 1 at 9th. So the 4 Landorus's that showed up all did very well in this tournament, I would say. And then the 3 Coalossals that came didn't really do too well. I don't know if the Landorus's, I don't think Landorus is like some, like, extremely godlike auto win against Coalossal or anything, but I do think that it is a good option to have, and it might be indicative of something, seeing that the Landorus's did well while the Coalossals didn't do so hot. Guys, I would say the last interesting, there's a lot of interesting things going on, honestly, with these teams, but I would say the last big one is that Zacian, the #1 most used restricted legendary, the highest placing it got was 5th place. 1 got 5th place, 1 got 7th, and then 1 got 9th. So honestly, Zacian didn't perform very well in this tournament. 5th place is great. Big shout outs to Gabriel for getting 5th place. That is an amazing accomplishment. But I would just say, from what we would expect from, you know, Zacian, it's a Pokemon that could totally just win the whole tournament and dominate everybody. People were ready for Zacian. I mean, you just look at the top teams. I think Kyogre is phenomenal against Zacian. It literally can just one-shot Zacian with a Mystic Water Water Spout. Done and done, if they are not a very bulky one. Groudon and Charizard, I think, are amazing into Zacian as well. And then, as you can see, there was Charizard, Groudon everywhere. And then the one Kyogre, of course, won the tournament. So I think Zacian still succeeds all the time with all those amazing Pokemon that are good against it in the format. But yeah, Zacian didn't do too hot. I don't think Zacian's going anywhere, though. I still think it is one of the best Pokemon the game has ever seen, but it didn't do too well, honestly. Well, ladies and gents, I think that's going to do it for my Players' Cup 3 Global Finals kind of breakdown wrap-up. Thank you guys so much for watching this video here on YouTube, and to the lovely people in Twitch chat. I really do appreciate you guys coming out and supporting your boy. And guys, my next video I'm coming out with is going to be a retrospective look on Series 8 as a whole. What we've learned, what Pokemon are amazing, what legendary Pokemon are amazing, and what we can expect to be some of the best legendary Pokemon when the format is going to turn into 2 restricted legendaries per team. That's how VGC has always been historically. This isn't confirmed or anything, but I think it is very likely that Series 10 rules, guys, is going to be 2 restricted Pokemon. So watch out for my next video. It's going to be very informative and helpful as a little jump start for that format that might be coming in the future. So guys, once again, thank you for supporting me and the channel. We're so close to 2,000 subs here on YouTube, which is so sick. I can't wait to do a little something special for that. But guys, I appreciate you so much, and I'll see you guys next time, everybody.